All right, it is a short week. Luckily, the content that you are learning this week is all very much intertwined. We're only doing one section, section 5.1. We have 3 goals today: to be able to identify parallel segments in a triangle, to be able to use the midsegment theorem to find the missing midsegment or third side of a triangle, and to be able to use the midsegment theorem to set up and solve algebraic equations. So first we need to define exactly what a midsegment is and what its parallel sides are. So when you have a triangle and then you have a segment that's kind of like appearing in the middle, this right here is called your midsegment. Just kind of think of it as the segment in the middle of your triangle, okay? So if this is your midsegment, what it is always parallel to is the segment that is across from it. This is known as the third side, and vice versa. These are always going to be parallel. Now remember, parallel means that they are never going to touch, and they're always going to be on the same plane. So they're always going to run by each other like this, always. So example 1, and remember these are problems that are also in your Google form assignment, so you already have 2 answers for your homework. Name the segment that is parallel to the given one. So our first segment is NP. So here is NP. Now what you want to do to be able to find what segment is across from it, that's parallel, is I always draw an arrow away from it. So this right here will be our congruent segment, our parallel segment, parallel to NP. Now, what is the name of it? Remember, when you are naming a segment, you name it by its endpoints, the ones on the very end. So it would be parallel to segment DC, or the name of it could be CD. Okay? It doesn't matter the order as long as it's the ones on the very end. All right? Let's do another example. They want to know what's parallel to KJ. So here's KJ. I'm going to draw my arrow and find my side that is across from it. So my segment that's going to be across from it is right there. Now you always are going to see that if you have the little one in the middle, it's going to be parallel to an outside. If you're an outside, you're going to be parallel to a little one in the middle. So this one is segment NP or PN. Remember, when you name a segment, just as long as it's the endpoints, order doesn't matter. So that is goal 1, being able to identify parallel sides. Okay, so our midsegment and our third side. Let's continue on to goal number 2. Goal number 2 is using our midsegment theorem. Well, before we can use it, we got to know what it says. So you remember the one in the middle, this is our midsegment, and across from it is our third side, right? We've already discussed this. There's a formula that goes with it. The formula tells us that our midsegment is equal to half the third side. Or in other words, 2 times our midsegment is equal to our third side. So as long as you can identify the midsegment and the third side, you're going to be able to use this formula. So let's go ahead and practice using it. So goal 2, being able to use it to find missing side lengths. So for example 2a, they want us to find xy. So here's what we want to know. So what I like to do is identify what's my mid and what's my third. So I notice here the one in the middle of our triangle, that is our mid. So our mid is our unknown, and across from it is our third. So we have 2 times mid equals third. So let's plug in what we know. We don't know our mid. So 2 times question mark equals, and then what's our third side? Well, it's 16. Well, how do we get our question mark by itself if it's being multiplied by 2? Well, we divide by 2. So what do we get for our final answer? Our unknown side is 8. Okay? Let's do another example. This time they want us to find YW. So here's what we want to know. Let's identify our mid and our third. So what is in the middle of our triangle? 4 is. So that's our mid. And across from it is our third. So we're going to still use 2 times mid equals third. So let's plug in what we know. We know 2, our mid is 4, is equal to our third, which is our question mark. So let's solve it. What's 2 times 4? 8. Again, this is 2 problems that are on your homework for assignment 2. So again, 2 more answers that you already know. All right, your answer's not always going to be 8. That just magically happened. Let's continue on to our last goal for today. Continuing to use our mid-segment theorem. Now we're going to use it to set up algebraic problems and solve. We're going to either solve for x or find a missing side. So let's start with example 3, solving for x. We're using our same formula here. 2 times mid equals third. And just like before, we need to identify our mid segment and our third side. Mid is always going to be inside the middle of our triangle. So here's our mid, and across from it will always be our third. Okay? Mid is in the middle, third is always across from it. So let's plug it into our formula. So 2 times our mid is 2x minus 10 equals our third. Our third is 3x minus 9. And now we solve the algebra. Now before we can do our constants and variables, you have this set of parentheses right here we need to work with. So we're going to distribute that 2. That gives us 4x minus 20 equals 3x minus 9. Okay? Now you can solve it however you like to. I like to do variables and constants. So our variables are the ones with x's. So we have 4x over here, so it doesn't have to change. 3x needs to move over, so it does change. Okay, negative 9 doesn't change. It's already over here, but our negative 20 is going to change because we had to move across the line. So 4x minus 3x is x equal, and then negative 9 plus 20 is, I do believe 11, but let me check because it is kind of early in the morning. Yes, it is. And that is your final answer. So that is us practicing using our mid-segment theorem to be able to set up and solve algebraic equations. Okay? Let's continue on with that. Our last example for today, example 4. We're doing the same thing here. We need to solve for x, but our final answer actually has to be the length of SQ. Okay? So again, we're still going to use 2 times mid equals third. Okay, let's identify our mid segment and our third side. So mid is always in the middle. So here's our mid segment. Third side is always across from it. So here's our third. So let's plug in what we know. 2 times mid, our mid segment is 2x minus 16 equals third, which is 2x minus 8. Okay, we want to solve for x, because once we solve for x, we can actually find the length of SQ. So just like before in example 3, first thing we need to do is distribute. So 2 times 2x is 4x, minus 2 times negative 16, which is negative 32. All right, so then we have 2x minus 8. I'm going to continue to do my variables and constants. Remember, if you like to solve it by doing, moving this and moving that, you'll still get the same answer as I do. I'm just showing this way because I know this is a easier way for a lot of students' minds to process. So if you like the other way, continue to do it that way, okay? All right, so 4x is already over here, so it's going to stay. 2x needs to move, so it becomes opposite. Okay, negative 8x is already over here, negative 8 is already over here, so it stays. Negative 32 needs to move, so it turns opposite. All right, so 4x minus 2x is 2x. And then negative 8 plus 32 is 24. All right, now we need to solve for x. Right now, x is being multiplied by 2, so we're going to divide by 2 to get x by itself, giving us that x equals 12. All right, go ahead and look over that and make sure you understood what happened, okay? But we're not done because the final answer needs to be the length of SQ. Here's what we know. Let me get a different color for this. Ooh, I like this like rust color. All right, so SQ is equal to 2x minus 8. And we can find the length of SQ now because we can substitute in 12 for x. So now we know SQ is equal to 2 times 12 minus 8. And you can literally just type that all in your calculator. You do not have to do step by step. We want to save some time. So we get SQ equals 16. This would actually be the final answer that you would be looking for on your Google form. Again, every example I've done today is on your Google form. So that is 2, 4, 6 problems that you have the answers to already on your homework. So make sure you get those at least right. All of this is due by Sunday. I know it's a short week. Again, only 2 assignments. You can do it. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.